We got tricked into watching America's Next Top Model
And making them more
and
money.
making them more money, or making the people who create this documentary more money by them forcing other people to relive the moments that they were exploited. No one's being held accountable.
Like when they fired Niles, Miss J, and Jay, they did that to try to boost ratings. It didn't work, right? But I hope you all are also seeing how they are trying to play you like a fool. The documentary was made for the same reason, to try to get their ratings to be better for season 25.
They need jail. they need to be put behind bars. I told you, I'm bored and overeducated.
Here we go again. Hey, besties. It's me, Dr. B, and I am here with our bestie.
W. I'm here.
Any day now. I promise he's here. I promise he's here. I'm looking at him. And so we're going to just get right into it. Just remember to subscribe, turn on your notifications, and please leave your comments. We want your part of the conversation. But yeah, so where did you want to start, W? I know you were telling me before we started recording.
So the question is, that is looming over everyone's mind, who do we hold responsible? And what should the repercussions and consequences be for Ken Mock, Tyra Banks, Jay Manuel, for the people that were involved? Because let's break down exactly what happened, right? 3 examples that I'm about to give where humans were violated on camera for ratings that they reaped financial benefit from. First, we have Shandy, right? Shandy was essayed on camera.
Yes.
And then Tyra Banks came in the next day, right? Talking
The
about
next day. I have
pushing the
to
narrative. Yeah.
emphasize that.
The
The
next day.
next day. Can y'all imagine? Like, this is what empathy is
Correct.
about, sitting in the reality of stuff. We got to sit with this. This was the next day after this woman went through this. And I know what you're about to share. So yeah, definitely continue with what Tyra did. But I just want us to, I don't want us to brush over the fact that this was like less than 24 hours after, right? And so remind everyone what happened when they all met for lunch or dinner or whatever that was the next day.
Pushing the narrative that she cheated on her boyfriend. Mind you, what she was like, what, 5'9" and 112 pounds, soaking wet?
Yeah.
So how
And
does
it
she
had
have
2 bottles of wine, she said. 2.
how
She
does
was
she have
barely
any
100
control?
pounds.
How
She
does
had
she have
no
any control of
control.
her faculty? No control whatsoever, right? So there's one. So not only was she violated by some stranger in Italy and then forced to and was forced in a situation where she was recorded in the bathroom and all these other places, but then also be humiliated by her boyfriend at that time because he did not understand exactly what happened.
No.
That should have been private. And then on top of that, you got Tyra coming in, putting um putting some earworm in her ear, saying, "Oh, you cheated." No.
Yeah.
She
And
had
it's just like she started it, because just as a reminder, Tyra started this by
she
saying,
leaked the conversation.
I had a boyfriend who cheated on me in Milan. And like, it's obvious, like what you're doing. It's obvious what you're doing. And then she just looks at her and she said, "Is everything okay, Shandy? You cheated on him, didn't you?" Like, what in the world? What?
Shandy
And
did
it's
not
like, y'all
understand
should
what was
know.
going on.
Right. And then also maybe I don't know what Tyra had seen or known at that point. So I do want to at least say that. But the production knew what happened because they watched it. And I'm trying to figure out, how did you all stomach even watching that? You watched that, back edited it, and then put it on television. So you watched the full thing, and that should have disturbed you. And I hope it gave you nightmares. I really do. So you will learn. Right? Learn from your mistakes, because that is not cool. And then I just didn't like the nonchalant. I don't even believe that story that Tyra gave. And maybe it's true, but I doubt it is. I think it was a part of, this is all for these ratings. And I'm trying to find a way to bring this topic up. But this woman was less than 24 hours after a really severe trauma that she had just gone through. And then you also taped, like you said, her phone call to her boyfriend, and how that was even presented, right? Because
Mhm.
she said, I did the worst thing, or whatever. And it's that, instead of
Yeah.
what actually happened, which was I was SA'd, right? That's what the conversation with the boyfriend should have been, right? Or the truth, the reality. But how it was presented is like, oh, and I feel like they, and I don't know this for sure, right? To be fair, but I feel like the production team made her or pressured her into saying it that way. Oh, call your boyfriend and say you cheated on him.
Here's another thing. I said in the previous episode that there was a lot of miseducation, right? And so in regards to Shandy, I believe that she was uneducated or miseducated on sexual health, right?
Yeah,
And
probably. Yeah.
knowing when you are SA is part of sexual
That.
health, right?
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
she could have been in
Consent
a
and everything. Yeah,
she could have been in a situation her entire life where that was never taught to her. So that's one,
that is
all right?
true. That
That's
is true.
that's that's mark one against this en this entire franchise, of this entire series, the people behind it. 2, we have another woman, Kenya Hill on
Yes.
cycle 4,
Mhm.
who not only was being fat shamed, but then put in a
Yeah, the
situ y
gluttony and the making her dress as an elephant, and they were constantly
yes,
talking about her stomach. Yeah, so she was
yes,
being fat shamed. And then on
yes,
top of that, the
and
Bertini stuff.
on top of that, she was put in a situation where a male model was, can we say assaulting? What
Yeah.
is that term? Okay, yeah, he was assaulting
Yes.
her. He was
Yes.
ass
He was harassing her initially
yes,
verbally, right? She
yes,
was very uncomfortable. It's so
mhm,
clear. And then there was, I don't remember who the other woman was that was initially standing behind him, but she was like, "Oh,
mhm,
he said he wants a massage and blah blah." Blah. Who cares what this man wants? He is harassing her in real time, and then there's another producer or model or whoever. It's like, oh, he said he wants a massage, and so no, she's uncomfortable. She's literally like, oh, I
what are
have
we
to go
doing?
finish doing my makeup. I have to go whatever. She didn't feel comfortable enough to just say, leave me alone, right? But she clearly was not interested. And then when she
If you know
finally did speak up,
mhm, mhm.
she was not supported. And remember, she even said, I thought to myself, what would Tyra do, or what would Tyra say to do? And that's when she was like, I need to speak up for myself. But the way they handled that was victim blaming.
Nigel Barker, who was the head photographer of that particular shoot and one of the judges, he was the one that Kenya was talking to, that she
Hmm.
was soliciting support from, right? Because he's also in a position of power.
Yeah.
And what did he say? He said, "The show must go on. We have 50 people here to do a job." And then in his commentary, he said, "I've been put in situations where I was uncomfortable. You just need to lift yourself up and go on with the job. You gotta stand up for yourself, right? You're in a position of power. She is in a vulnerable position. She
And
is
she
in a
literally
40,
was
she's
standing up
contract.
for herself. That
She
was the
was gonna
standing up.
and you were not supported. You were not wanting to have any type of responsibility because you were thinking about the show.
And it was
That's
such a
what
simple fix. It was
it was.
such a
Literally could have
simple
moved him out the
fix.
way.
Move him out the way. There were other models there. She had an issue with one person. Take him out of her shoot. And then for them to there's like these, it's like over
Mhm.
and over and over again violations to the same people, because then the best picture they took, right, even she was like, pause that for a second, right, during her interview, the best picture they took, right, said it was her best picture, was him touching her, right? It's
Grabbing
like
her leg.
it's crazy. It's just
Yeah.
like, it was such a simple, all you had to be was like, yo, like he got to be on the bench, bring somebody else in, or not. There was two other models.
They purposely chose that photo, one,
Mm-hmm.
because they wanted a reaction out of her for the TV,
Yep.
okay? And 2, to break down her defenses to make it seem like it was in her head. Look, he was just trying to get you to get here. I know what they were trying to do, and I'm so
Yeah.
glad that I'm glad she started crying because it
Yeah.
stopped them. in their tracks from trying to
It would have been
gaslight
it
her.
would have been worse. Yeah.
Yeah,
They were ready. They were locked
they
and
were
loaded to
they were
gaslight.
s they were so
Mhm.
ready to be on the defensive that when people are in positions of power, rarely what I'm seeing in this show is that they will allow other people to hold them accountable. You can't
Mhm.
when you are in a position of power, you cannot be the one to hold yourself accountable because you do not reap the true consequences of your actions. So
Mhm.
we're going to get there, but then the last one is Tiffany. The last anecdotal evidence of my question, what are we doing here? Is Tiffany,
Yeah.
who tried who got on who how do I say this? She auditioned twice, got it the second
Yes.
time. The
First
first
time she got
time,
into a bar fight, so she
mm-mm,
wasn't
mm-mm,
able to
mm-mm,
go.
mm-mm. I'm not gonna
She
phrase
did
it like
not?
that. I'm not gonna
Okay.
phrase it like that. Tiffany was defending herself in a bar. She and some other contestants went to a bar, they were minding their business, and
Mhm.
then some other patrons were harassing them.
Okay. I don't know what
Tiffany,
happened in the bar.
I
So,
saw it.
yeah.
I know
Okay.
what happened.
Okay.
Tiffany was
Okay.
defending herself, and the show spun it into, "Oh, she
An
is
aggressive
out
black
of
woman
control."
being in a fight.
Yes,
Yeah. Mhm.
right, and that's it that's not
And
what
that's not
happened.
what happened. And I knew that wasn't what that's not the impression that I was left with. I just called it a bar fight because I just knew there was an altercation in a bar, but I knew nothing about that. But that doesn't surprise me. That's what I would have assumed happened because I would also think that you just got this really big opportunity. And for most people, you would be trying to like chill, like you would be trying to make sure things go well. So I
Mhm,
imagine that something had to have provoked her, right?
mhm,
Potentially to have even done that because that was I mean, she lost her chance that season. So it was a pretty big thing. Yeah.
right. And so that was that season, but then the next season, you bring her back, right?
Saying that you got her help and everything, which that was never clear what they did.
Painting painting her as
Mhm.
some helpless damsel, all right? Whether that's true or not, she probably wasn't the only one, but she fits a certain image, a certain trope that
Yep.
I talked about in a certain in the previous episode.
Mhm.
Farming for ratings by exploiting the vulnerable. That's what was happening, right? And then we
Mhm.
get to the whole Tyra exploding onto Tiffany, not out of love, but because she felt slighted that she wasn't getting the reaction that she wanted by doing a trick on the two ladies she wanted to send home, right? She was looking for Tiffany to cry. She was looking for Tiffany to break down just so she could say, you know what, I'm gonna keep you. I
Mhm.
know her game. I've
Mhm.
seen her do this before, right? That's what she wanted to do. But when Tiffany wasn't giving her that, wasn't falling into this trope, she exploded because
Yeah.
she's thinking about her bottom line. And the bottom
Mhm.
line is, from Tyra's perspective, seeing a black woman being broken down is ratings, is
Mhm.
revenue, is a bonus. For who?
And I think she
Her.
wanted credit for having like you said, like I think she wanted Tiffany to win that season so that they could be like, "See, we molded her. We changed her life. We're saviors. And we're right." Like, and when that did not happen, there was
Mhm.
this really massive reaction because I know they were initially like, "Oh, Tyra saw herself in Tiffany," and I'm like, "No, there's other stuff going on here.
So
There's other
I
stuff
was on
going
the
on here."
Reddit I was on the Reddit forums, and there is a theory, a rumor,
Okay,
whether it's substantiated or not. The winner of each cycle is chosen within the first 2 episodes by
I'm
the
sure.
by the companies that are looking to book the model, right? So you have to have some type of cash prize or some type of prize at the end of the show, and so they're already chosen. So maybe Tiffany was the one chosen, but that goes
Mhm.
back to what I was saying. Everyone's bottom line was being affected, and that's what really was
Yeah,
ticking her off,
100%. Yeah, and that's
right?
what and exactly. I agree with you, it's the bottom line because that's that's my hypothesis. I think she was the chosen person because it was going to allow them to have this savior image of themselves of like, look, we got somebody from the bottom of the barrel. That's how they decided to present her. Keep in mind, this is not the truth, right? But that's what they wanted, the narrative, right? How they spun what the altercation and all of that. And it would have allowed for them to be like, this show can change your life, like in more ways than you thought. Not just giving you a modeling opportunity, no, but we will help you evolve as a person, become the best version of yourself. Like I feel like that's where it was headed. And when that got disrupted because Tiffany was like, I'm just over it because that's why she was had the reaction that she had too, right? And where she, like humor kind of came out as a defense mechanism because she was hurt, but she also was tired. She was tired of them, and
And that's valid.
understandably so. And
Yeah.
so she was just like, I'm ready to bounce. Like, and then she's like, oh, you're not taking this seriously enough. You know what I was gonna, do for you? I was rooting for you. Like, it was just, oh God, all of these violations. And we didn't even talk about the race swamping. We didn't even talk about that. And I don't know if do we want to touch on that before we get to the bottom, the bottom line of things.
I don't even want to go there because
Yeah, it's just they did it twice though, y'all. Twice.
here's
Twice.
the thing. At how do I say this? That is appropriate. Um, what was the point of this documentary?
Yeah.
Similar to Tyra talking to Danielle 15 years after Danielle won her respective season of America's Next Top Model. Telling Danielle, I was writing the fits. She said she was writing the fits with Danielle. She wasn't sure she wanted Danielle on the show because she knew Danielle could be a success, but the show would close doors
Yeah.
for her,
Yeah.
right? And Tyra also admitted that she did nothing to help Danielle post show when she knew she
Mhm.
could,
Yeah.
right?
Yep. Mhm.
What was the point of saying that? And what's the point of American Next Top Model if majority of the people who go on there who win face
Nothing.
more
Yeah.
obstacles
Yeah.
than what the show promises? And then what is the point of this documentary when no one's being held accountable for the violations that occurred on that show? In fact, we have people in power, people who were in power, who were on that show, judges, creative
Yep.
directors,
Yep.
executives, production team,
Yep.
who are placing blame on everyone except themselves. Yeah, we
Yeah.
did that. That's what some of them would say. But then, but we were told to do this by who? It's like everyone's passing the buck, but no one's taking accountability for their role in inflicting pain on the most vulnerable.
Mhm.
Nigel,
Mhm.
J. Manuel, Tyra,
Mhm.
Ken Mock.
Mhm.
These people need they need jail.
Yeah.
They they need to be put behind bars.
Mhm.
Like they need their money taken away from them. I personally feel like the amount of money that they made from that show needs to be taken
Yeah.
away from them.
Yeah.
What they were able to anything that they were able to benefit post that show needs to be stripped away from them. And the reason I say this is because this idea is coming from um what the Chinese government does to billionaires over here, right?
Mhm.
When billionaires try to get into politics or when people of celebrity try to influence the masses in regards to politics or whatever, the government clamps down and they
Mhm.
say you are affecting the well-being of the public. So we're going to put you in jail because you
Mhm.
need to be re-educated on what it's like or what it is to be a citizen of a nation. You're not
Mhm.
above anyone, you are of everyone, okay? So
Mhm.
that's one, and then on top of that, they also heavily tax those people.
Yeah. So
And
this is in China, y'all, just so you know,
correct.
because right now W is living abroad and has been for a while, and he is in China. So this is what he's talking about, not our government, because I know y'all are probably hearing, "Wow, they're doing that now." No, they're not. He's talking about a different country, right, that is doing that.
But Ken Mott needs to be held to those standards.
I
Tyra Banks
agree.
needs to be held to those consequences.
I agree.
Agro Barker needs to be held to those consequences
I
because
agree.
the Tiffany has to live with that for the rest of her life.
Whole life.
Sandy has to live with that for the rest of her life.
Mhm.
Kenya has to live with that for the rest of her life. Tyra
Yeah.
was on there unsure about these events that transpired. So
Yeah.
my question is, what's the point of this documentary?
Yeah, what is
What's the
what
point of the
I would
show?
argue what's the point often about a lot of these kinds of documentaries? I'm often left with, okay, we are now all aware of the horrendous events that happened. And now what? Nothing? Nothing? We just go, wow, that was just crazy that that happened and that's horrible that that happened and nothing else. So I'm so with you. I feel like this is one of, sadly, an infinite amount of documentaries like this where
They
there
dropped the
is
ball.
nothing. Yeah, and there is nothing coming from it other than, again, people being entertained by things that should not be a part of our entertainment in that way. If we're going to do this, it should be to, like you said, make sure that people are being held accountable so that these
Yes.
patterns can be broken, because why do we have so many examples of this over? You can literally go on Netflix, type in documentaries, and you will see a sea of documentaries like this, whether it's about a a cultish church, or it's about a reality show, or it's about whatever. There's so many of them, and we're seeing over and over and over again how we exploit, how we violate, how we mistreat. And it's like the show happens, the documentary comes out, and nothing occurs after that. Nothing occurs after that. And that needs to stop. Right? Of course, the trauma needs to stop, the abuse needs to stop, but also this needs to stop. There needs to be repercussions. If we know the truth now, then people should be held accountable accordingly
Mhm. And on
for
top
their
of that,
crimes.
those
Their
were crimes.
crimes. Those are
Those were
crimes.
crimes.
Like, let us
Yeah,
not sugarcoat that these are crimes that people have committed.
on
And
camera.
if any person with less financial power, and I say it that way because I believe we are all powerful. So, but I'm going to say financial power based on the social construct of money. Anybody with less financial power did these things, you would be in jail. You would. So I'm just what like when you think about that, it's like, why is nothing
Mm,
happening?
lock their asses up, all of them. Like, they all
It's
gotta
time for
go.
time out. It is
Yo.
time for time out. And
Yes.
W and I both agree that the prison system is highly problematic in terms
Oh,
of how people are
yeah,
treated.
yeah.
So we're not we don't want we do want to at least state that, because
Abolish
we
prison.
also yeah, yeah, like, yeah, the prison system is not a place for recovery and reform the way it should be. Not even close. And it could be that. Again, I always want y'all to remember, we are creating these systems. Us. It's it's just it's human beings. So you can change things. And I'm not saying you, the listener, by yourself, but I just don't want us ever to forget the power that we hold when you are the creator of these systems. You also then have the control to change it. It's a complex journey, sure, to some degree, but I just never want us to forget that point. Because that's so important. It keeps us awake. It keeps us awake from the so that you're not drinking the lies of, like, oh, things have to be this way. According to who and what and why? Because they don't. The prison system was designed to be how it is for a reason, and those reasons were not good, right? And it's built off the back of slavery that happened in America, right? So when we remember that, we can say, oh, well, no wonder this is such a horrid place and it's not actually helping people. But I digress. So yeah, accountability needs to be had, not just more entertainment. Because then what are we doing? How's this documentary any better
Mhm.
for society than how the show failed society as well?
This this documentary, along with the show itself, was so disjointed, and
Yeah.
while it exposed things that we already knew, it led to nowhere ultimately, because at the
No.
end of towards the end of it, Tyra was talking about get ready for cycle 25.
It's like, what she say? I know she didn't say get ready for something. I know she didn't say that.
I was shocked.
Flabbergasted. This is, we have certain words in the English language that we've created that I think have special times where they really fit. Flabbergasted.
No,
Flabbergasted describes how I felt.
mm, my jaw was open. You saw me, hand over my
Mhm.
head. No, she
Could
didn't.
not believe it.
Yes, she
Never.
did.
Yeah. Could
It's
not
not
believe it.
funny because what she's saying is, give me another opportunity to exploit the vulnerable for my benefit.
And I'll do it better this time. Meaning I'll make more money. That's what she's basically. I'm gonna quote her when because I told you I wanted to say this, and I think this is perfect timing.
Yeah.
And the Bertini stuff happened. She was like, "I know that then we handled that horribly, and letting Kenya be, violated, another person being violated on camera by this model." And then she said, "But today I would say to her, this is a quote, y'all. She said, 'Boo boo, I am so sorry.'" And I think that that's fitting for her to then later say season 25 is coming. Because I said, boo boo. That if I ain't never y'all, does that sound genuine to you? If somebody starts an apology with boo boo, I'm already gonna be like, come on now. This is not authentic. This is not real. Boo boo, it feels like you're making light of it. It's just not giving. It's just not giving. I understand the magnitude of what I did to these people. Right? And then she went on to, of course, use the classic, "I did the best that I could with what I knew at the time." That was her full apology. That's her quote. "Boo boo, I'm sorry. I did the best I could with what I knew at the time." As if she didn't know what harassment looks like at that time. I think she knew what harassment looked like in 2000 and whatever that was. 2000, probably like 10 at that point for that season.
There's a conversation to be had in regards to a particular group of people who continue to stay in a position of power so they can inflict pain on others
Mhm.
and not have real conversations and to not be put in a position where they can be vulnerable. And Tyra is an example of that, but that's
Yes.
not a conversation that should be had right now because there are so many other people who can be grouped into that.
Yes.
And this is not that right now, but we will get
Right.
there.
Mhm.
In that regard, we gotta do better.
We just gotta do better, y'all. That's the real conclusion, because this is a cycle that just continues to happen in so many spaces and in so many ways. And I cannot tell you, because I'm somebody who watches a lot of documentaries. I have lost count at how many documentaries I have watched at this point. I would argue that it's probably, out of the ones I've watched, probably at least 90% of them, that it ends with the people who did the horrific violations just doing it again. Like, literally, it's like, "Oh, this person opened another church. Oh, this person now has this community. Oh, this person is now recruiting these people." Like, it's always, and I'm like, "Huh? That's the end? That's the end is still a nightmare? What happened to ending supposed to be like fairy tales? Because I'm not understanding how."
Ultimately, what I said before is the ending of this episode. What was the point of this? There was no point.
Yeah.
Actually, we got tricked into watching American Next Top Model,
And making them more
and
money.
and making them more money, or making the people who create this documentary more money, by them forcing other people to relive the moments that they were exploited. No one's being held accountable, and
Nope.
people need to be like, I'm saying some s Nigel, Tyra, Ken, the executives over at UPN need to lose some freedoms and money. But yeah, that's where I am with this.
Yeah, and all we got was a boo boo. I'm so sorry. I feel like that's the apology we got.
How do you receive that when you know the person who's saying that didn't even see their lifelong mentor who they met at the age of 16 in the hospital
Yeah.
when they had a stroke?
She did not go see Miss J in the hospital.
They
Like,
had
let
the
that sit with
resources.
you.
No, so here's the thing. If you don't have the money to just go and see that person,
That's
within a
one
certain
thing.
time span, that I will understand that. But these are people with means. These are people with
With
resources.
means. She was just abroad in Australia, just living in Australia while her lifelong mentor had a stroke and nothing. She sent him flowers 5 days before she fired them.
I'm not tuning in to Cycle 25.
Oh,
I'm
no,
logging
please,
out.
yeah,
I'm
that's
logging
another
out.
we gotta, like, not support that. If we're watching
No.
it, it's a we're then being a now more aware, willing participant in things that are just wrong,
Mhm.
morally, ethically wrong. So, yeah, please strongly, 'cause I mean, we can't tell you what to do, but we hope that those within our bestie community and even outside of that will strongly consider not watching it, please, if there is another season, because it feels like this documentary was made to, in addition to what we already said, to bring this back on the radar for people so that when season 25 drops, it would be more likely to have people watching. Because imagine if this documentary didn't come out and another season of America's Next Top Model just dropped. They wouldn't have gotten as many ratings because people were over it already, right? But because they did this, now it's at the forefront of people's minds again. And they're more likely to be like, well, what are they going to do now? Because we realized all of this stuff from before that they did that was horrible to people. And so it was the same thing like when they fired Niles, Miss J, and Jay. They did that to try to boost ratings. It didn't work, right? But I hope you all are also seeing how they are trying to play you like a fool. The documentary was made for the same reason, to try to get their ratings to be better for season 25. They had to
Think
put it
about
back at the forefront of your mind.
If you think about it, they kinda already played us for a fool because we all watched this documentary.
Yeah.
For what?
Yeah. Yeah. Yep.
You know what? I'm done with this. Y'all, thank you so much for listening to the Bored and Overeducated podcast. Please like, share, comment, subscribe. I would greatly appreciate it to my besties. And my bestie over here, thank you so much for guiding us through this and guiding us to a healthier outcome. I appreciate you.
I
Ducky,
appreciate you. I
give
love
them
you
the
so
lowdown.
much. Yeah. Yes, I love you, W. I love our listeners. Thank you all again for being here. As W said, we really appreciate you all. We hope that this episode and all episodes continues to help you learn, laugh, and grow. And we want to always leave you all with like points to really continue to chew on and be stimulated by to feed your mind. And so we do want you to form your own opinions and thoughts. And we hope that we gave you enough today through this 3-part series to be able to do that. And yeah, we look forward to hearing your input in the comments. And yep, make sure you subscribe and we'll see you all next time. There will actually be episode, like our original episode 4 will also be dropping very soon too. So y'all are getting like 4 episodes within a week, which we have never done before. So we were like, come on, that's a lot of work. So we hope that y'all will really definitely like, comment, share, let a friend know about it, like, and definitely subscribe because the subscription numbers really do matter. And we have brought 4 episodes to you all in a matter of like a week. It's a lot. But we love you guys and we will see you all again soon. Smooches.